Alright, hey guys, welcome back. You probably are watching this one right after chapter 6 because it was super short, but if you aren't, hello anyway. My beautiful background. I'm always wearing this sweatshirt, it's just my favorite one, so. Okay, we are on chapter 7. We are going into Allie's perspective. And it is on page 51, and lots of ands here. Oh yes, just a little bit of review. So we know Allie is deaf, Jace is this rock star, and she won this, her friend forced her to go to Jace's concert, and then, Allie won the raffle ticket to go get a private backstage tour with Jace, but he, super rude to her, flipped her off, and so that happened, and she left, and then then we find out that Jace's mom died on June 5th, 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm trying to think of all the review. Okay, yeah, then, we find out that Allie's dad is, he can get very drunk, and he's abusive, and Allie has this deaf clan that she goes on to, and she wants to go to Gladys University in Washington, D.C., where she can just fully immerse herself in the deaf culture. And then she went over to Avery's house, and then she got a text from Jace telling her that he was apologizing because he knew he was a jerk, even though he knows it, but he doesn't care. So, but anyway, we are on the tour now. The second tour where Allie at the end is supposed to get $8,000. And all he needs is a couple pictures. Okay, anyway, let's get into it. I cross my arms over my chest and gaze around, taking in an empty stadium. One of Tone Deaf's tech crew members greeted me at the entrance gates and led me here to the base of the stage. Then he ran off to fetch Jace, leaving me to wait. It's been hardly 1 day since the concert, but everything looks different. The giant screen is off, the only lights on the stage are the dim backup ones. There's no audience, no sound vibrations or packed bodies, just plain old silence. I take a deep breath to calm my nerves and tap out a beat with my foot, driving my frustration into a steady rhythm. I guess I should be happy I'm getting $8,000 out of this, but I'm not happy. No amount of money is worth the sort of humiliation Jace flung in my face. A soft breeze ruffles my hair, but it does nothing to cool my flaming temper. I look over the seats in the stadium toward the lot in the distance where I parked. My dad let me borrow his old Pontiac tonight, like he sometimes does. My feet itch to run back to the car and drive away. This was his mistake coming here. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be giving in to Jace's bribe. It's not right. Before I can convince myself to leave, I see Jace coming toward me. He emerges from one of the hallways right beside the main stage, moving like he has a lead ball chained to his leg. As he approaches, his expression isn't predatory, but instead wary, like he's afraid of what he'll see, so he comes to a halt right in front of me. "Thanks for coming, Allison." "I go by Allie," I say, in what I hope is a growl, "not Allison. Only my dad calls me Allison." I stare at his feet, not wanting to see whatever scathing response he comes up with. I'm surprised to find he's wearing a beat-up pair of Vans instead of some designer brand. I guess he's not into the whole famous and fashionable thing. Jace strides back toward the hallway he's just come out of, motioning for me to follow. I stay at his side and try to keep my expression neutral. I can't let Jace see that he's getting to me. He's not even apologizing for what happened last night. No, he's just acting like nothing is wrong, like I'm just another obsessed fan who actually wants this tour. I force in a deep breath. It'll be over soon. I just need to get through it. The guy with the tech crew who greeted me earlier meets us in the hallway. He's scrawny and wears thick glasses, and I bet he's hardly any older than Jace, but as he follows along with us, he gapes at Jace like he's witnessing a god, and he keeps snapping pictures of us with his phone. Great. I guess those images will be the evidence Jace needs to keep away a social media scandal. We reach the sound room, hidden away in just a couple dozen yards from the main stage, and Jace vaguely gestures around. This is where all the sound controls are. I take in the equipment in front of me. Most of it I'm familiar with, but some of it's kind of different. I walk around the room, running my fingers over the analog mixer, the power amp, the signal processor. I still remember my piano teacher making me learn all of the stage technology when I was little. I had thrown a fit. I wanted to play music, not learn about boring sound systems. But he had insisted, saying that part of respecting music was respecting the devices that help create it. I traced the ridges of one of the processor's knobs. The technology hasn't changed much since I last performed, but now that I can never be a part of it, the equipment feels cold and foreign under my fingertips. You're missing a monitoring system. How do you play without one? The question slips out of my mouth before I can stop it. I don't really want to know, right? Right. I shouldn't have a casual conversation with Jace, not after what he did. Jace raises his eyebrows and walks over to me, his arms crossed firmly over his muscular chest. He pauses to pat a small analog mixer like it's a dog needing attention, and then says, "Most of this equipment belongs to the stadium, but we like to use our own tech for the important stuff, like the monitoring system. It's already been packed up for our next show." I take a step back. So you're leaving soon? Tomorrow afternoon, thankfully. I try not to wince. The way he looks at me with disdain as he says thankfully, it makes me think I'm the one he's happy to leave behind, and not the city. When do I get my money? I demand. Jace looks toward the tech crew guy who's standing in the doorway. He's busy taking another picture of us and pretending he isn't hearing a word we're saying. "I'll give you the check when we're done with the tour," Jace says. "Forget the tour. You give me my money and I promise not to go to the media." He laughs in my face. "I don't trust promises, sweetheart." I feel like I'm going to explode. A sweetheart? Does he really think he can call me condescending pet names after how he treated me? But I guess he doesn't think that. He knows it. After all, he's the one with the money and the leverage. I'm tempted to call the whole thing off just to spite him. Instead, I take in a deep breath and ask, "Why do you use an analog mixer instead of a digital? Wouldn't a digital mixer be better for punk music, especially with all your guitars?" If I had to endure Jace's presence, I might as well talk about something I'm interested in. Jace blinks at me, and his sneer slowly melts into a frown. "PAs?" he asks slowly. I can tell by the way he hesitates with the word PA like he's trying to test my vocabulary. I just roll my eyes. Of course, I know sound systems. How? I've performed before. Jace lets out another scoff. What venue would allow you to perform? Carnegie. His eyes grow wide. Carnegie Hall? I nod. There's no way I can form any words right now. I haven't talked about my past for a long, long time, and there's a familiar stabbing pain in my gut as I mention Carnegie. I remember that night so well. I had been terrified but exhilarated as I performed with a group of highly advanced piano students. I felt like every single eye in the audience was glued to me as my little hands flew over the keys. Everyone was waiting for me to screw up and prove that kids don't belong in the most prestigious music hall in NYC. I performed perfectly, and that was the real start of my musical career. Jace's eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Tell me where the H note is on the keyboard." "There is no H." "Then tell me what an analog mixer does, as long as you're so interested in mine." I rattle off an explanation that leaves him looking mildly impressed. "Great, so you read a Wikipedia article about them." "I'm not making it up. I used to play." "Then prove it," he demands. I shake my head. "I'm deaf now. I don't play anymore." I don't say what else I'm thinking, that I haven't touched an instrument since the surgery permanently stole my hearing. That I don't think I could if I tried. The pain of it would kill me. Jay smirks. "That's what I thought. You can't play now, and you never have been able to." "That's not true. It's what I'll believe until you prove me wrong." Jason and I glare at each other for a good 5 seconds, and then he abruptly turns toward the door. I'll show you to the equipment trailer next, he says, and begins to walking away. Not waiting for me, your mom. $8,000, I remind myself. This is worth it for $8,000. Oh, it's not, a small voice in my head whispers. Nothing is worth digging up those memories. But I ignore the voice and follow him out the door. That is the end of chapter 7 from Allie's perspective. We finished on page 56, so we'll be starting up on page 57, which is chapter 8 in Jace's perspective. So, we just figured out a little bit more that she performed at Carnegie Hall, which is crazy. I was actually just in New York City with my family, so it's kind of interesting to know that she performed there once. Obviously, it's fiction, but, like, it's fine. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Holy crap, I am yawning a lot. I hope that the voices were, like, even just slightly able to differentiate. I'm giving her, like, a slightly British accent when she's talking, but then, like, just a narrative voice. Because I'm kind of just doing how she kind of thinks she sounds, and then how other people kind of hear her, which is slightly British, which is how they've described it. So that's what we're going with. So see you guys in the next video, which is chapter 8, Jace's perspective, on page 57. Yep, bye.